very first story on the front page is dedicate fund to pre-tertiary education. The Ghana National Association of Teachers cries out to the next government. Now they're saying that they are pushing for the state to urgently set up a system of dedicated funding for senior high, junior high, and basic schools, also known as pre-tertiary education. The largest pre-tertiary grouping of teachers said a dedicated source of funding would not only address the challenges bedeviling the free senior high school policy, but would also cure the dwindling quality at the junior high and basic school levels. And well, maybe I can't dispute teachers when they are the ones teaching and saying that the quality is dwindling at that level. That is pre-tertiary. The point that's also required here is that I thought in the last, of course, there's no dedicated funding for it. We generally do budget for the Ministry of Education, then we do the various sectors. So SHS, then junior high school, then tertiary education, and all of the various sectors will get their required funding. I agree that we have sought to focus on a sector without necessarily thinking deeply about where we get the money for it. Because all of our conversations prior to free SHS conversation, you remember the proposal from Yao Safumafo?
Yeah.
Yes, there are others who also propose how else we should fund it. Maybe, just maybe, if we had gone through with the law and not the politics part of the law, if you have gone through with the free SHS bill and in that identified a fund, say pre-tertiary fund, where just like we have get fund for mostly infrastructure at the tertiary level, we will get a dedicated funding source so that we can push in the money. And just like we have NHIS, the levy for funding the NHIA, we could equally dedicate a source of funding for it. So the conversations about disparities, the conversations about inequalities, the conversations about whether we have always had difficulties with funding, whether or not the Minister of Education is at the behest of the Minister of Finance. When he releases no money, then there's trouble.
But what have
levels.
we done with the Ghana Education Trust Fund?
Yeah, that's also another.
A lot of it goes to secondary education. So look, all we need is to rationalize the expenditure
in the sector.
We don't need.
There was a time that we used to spend almost 90% on salaries.
Yes.
For the people in the education sector, their budget, and it was quite strange.
That's what we do. And you see, we did the Dachshund bonds, and what happened to it? Were we able to massively improve infrastructure in the sector? No. You see, I think that we need a whole rethink when it comes to our development.
Yeah.
We have done too many things wrong, and a lot of the things we've done, it's all because of procurement. We procure these things. We create avenues where we can make money. Unfortunately, that's what we do in this country. So we just don't think about how we can transform a sector. There isn't any feeling that, okay, let me do this so that in future I can actually look back and say, during my tenure, we were able to achieve these.
Okay.
Anybody who gets into office is thinking about, oh, okay, in 4 years I won't be here, so let me make as much as I can make, and that's the end of it. What's happened to Get Fund?
Before I move on, EC to recollate parliamentary results of 9 constituencies, and perhaps one of the biggest stories from yesterday. So, well, the EC says that in a place like is Ayawaso Central, right? No,
Okaigwe
it's
Central.
actually Okaigwe Central. Why do I always miss them? Okaigwe Central, where Patrick Boama is supposed to be the member of parliament currently.
Supposed to be, he is.
No, he's a member of parliament currently, but I'm talking about well,
the disputed
yes
results.
What happened was that 31 of those polling station results was not included in that. You know, we're on TV, right? Wednesday,
Yeah.
when that was being declared. And somebody mentioned that they have over 70% of the pink sheets, so they can go ahead. And I kept on asking, which law mandates you to do that? But the Electoral Commission says that it has the opportunity not to uphold such results. The NDC disagrees completely. The NDC believes that the conduct of the Electoral Commission is not in tandem with CI 127 or any other law that mandates it to do its work properly. Indeed, the Electoral Commission says that there are other areas that it's not going to uphold the results to. It talked about Domiko Abidjan, where some 3 polling station results are also in contention. It talks about Tema Central. I think the lady who was declared is Ibi Bright.
Yeah.
Right, yes. That's also in contention. And it talks about other areas across the country, specifically in Obuasi East. It says the man was forced to do some wrong declaration. That's the returning officer. They held his hand and harassed him and asked him to do whatever they wanted him to do.
I think the argument is that to the extent that there was some form of declaration by a presiding officer, then it is only the courts that can overturn that decision.
True.
And that's
That's
why
what
we're
the-
There's some
insisting
really
that
big
go to
lessons here.
court.
There's some really big lessons here. I think we saw the video of Patrick Boama's constituency. Is it Okaikwe
Central.
What was Sam George doing there?
Well,
Right.
so I'm
And
sure.
why did we see him whispering into the ear of the EC official? Which part of the electoral process is that?
Now, Raymond, we were on TV
Yes.
when we were told, for instance, that at the collation center of the Okaikwe Central, some thugs had stormed the center. The police ran away. So our correspondent, was there.
And yet police ran away.
Police
Yes,
to police.
I've
and-
never understood that.
Yes, and then it was moved to the EC regional head office, and we saw the NDC officials, some of the members of parliament, showing up there. And when they got there, for instance, you may have heard. I mean, you heard Ibrahim Malba say on the day that they have told the returning officer that once they have been able to collate 2/3 of the results, they can declare. We have been trying to find that in CI 127. And when we spoke to Martin Pebu, we asked him. I am not a lawyer, so I asked the question, is it the view of the EC that administratively this may not have been done right, and so it can say we wouldn't accept this? Because then they believe that the returning officer under duress cannot declare results. Is that what the EC is saying? That if the returning officer declares results under duress, it's null and void? The courts would have to determine that.
True.
And also in Tema Central, the NPP alleges that they actually brought another returning officer from a nearby constituency. So it wasn't the Tema Central returning officer who actually declared Ebi Bright winner.
Bosman
And
Asare
the-
has since,
Confirmed that.
amended that information.
Amended.
Yes, he suggests that the person who declared the results is not even a returning officer for
Okay.
any
So
constituency.
if
But the case
Well,
was also
which-
made
sorry,
that
which
in
place is that?
Damongo,
that's
Hold
the Tema
Tema
Central.
Central.
and
But
then
the
Damongo is
statement-
also cited.
The,
Wait,
no,
wait, Raymond,
the
Raymond.
EC statement says
Yes.
that the DEO, that is the District Electoral Officer, right, again, was threatening, and then he was forced to declare results using 146 polling stations instead of 148. The commission would not uphold that declaration.
Yeah. I
So
think that's-
I mean, yeah. So this is what that statement from the Electoral Commission
But
says.
I've got a question. Is it the case that the returning officers also don't know their rights? Because if you're in charge, how do you say somebody forced me to make a...
The
Well,
biggest-
I mean,
the
the
biggest
police
failure
have
in
run
these
away.
areas, yes,
You
and the
know,
police, see,
the
security
poli-
failed the people
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Amavi, when they used to do it at the Legon, the school behind the Legon police station, Firehouse West, well gone. The place, others come to stand there, they charge, sometimes they are shouting all over. It is the police that forms a wall, preventing the people, even party people, big boys, from coming closer to it. So it's left with only your agents. What we saw is that anybody who appeared to have had some form of a cloud could get in there. Anybody. I mean, saw some of these
I mean,
things on TV,
you
and the
saw-
police
you
was
s-
acting like they were some bystanders.
How about all
And-
the press conferences prior to the election? The showcasing of the election task force, the assurances by the IGP. I mean, all stakeholders.
See,
and we
there
were
is-
told that they were ready for the exercise
There's a more
before,
serious
during, and
comment.
after.
There's a more serious comment. The woman is saying that the president should intervene and that she requires security to do that job. I mean, it's a very serious point. She's basically telling the election security people that You have failed in your responsibility. I need the commander-in-chief to come in and help me do my job.
But hang on, Raymond. I think I said yesterday that perhaps the police will also be respecting the fact that the courts must make the decision.
Well, no,
and so they are respecting the action that's been taken by the NDC.
Mamavi, that is a very long stretch.
No, the Electoral
that
Commission
the police
says,
will say that in lieu of a court decision, they won't do their jobs.
No, the Electoral Commission says the police told them that they had picked intelligence that there was going to be mayhem. And that's why. So there's going to be some distraction, some chaos. If you read the statement from the Electoral Commission.
Yes.
That's what they said. So it's not a case of respecting any court order.
No, they told them.
But I think that
there's going to be chaos. So whose job is it
thank you.
to deal with chaos
I say
and
this
mayhem?
Simply.
So let's say, you before you make that point. If January 7,
Hey, really?
If January 7, we have to do swearing in, and there's going to be chaos, will we put it off?
No.
Yes.
We'll deal with it.
We'll deal with it. So we provide security for that, right?
But we need the police to issue a
No.
statement. That's
But
what
if the
they've been
police,
doing.
no,
Let's hear you. Since
wait.
yesterday,
The
nothing.
police says that there's going to be lawlessness, so they won't work.